Hey, what's going on YouTube? Chris back with another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Google Pixelbook. Now, it's late in 2018. I know we're right around the corner of leaks of the Pixelbook 2. You could actually pick this up on sale at the Google store for around, depending on what variant, maybe like $250 off. I picked this one up actually kind of around the Amazon Prime Day when it was $600. This is going to be the base model of 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage. It does go up from there for 256 gigs, and then also the highest spec'd out for 512 gigs of storage with an i7, things like that. So the base model has an Intel Core i5. That is a full-fledged i5 processor. It's not a mobile version or anything like that. It's what you're going to find in standard like laptops and things like that. Like I said, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage. The difference between this base model and let's say the 512 gig is the flash memory. So you're going to have this little slower flash memory in this one versus the higher end model. The difference that could affect would be maybe read-write speeds when you're transferring data, or if let's say you're using Linux apps and things like that, something that's more heavy intensive, it might take a little bit longer to save files that are maybe much larger and things like that. So just keep that in mind. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest, but the read and write speeds are going to be affected. So let's go ahead and get this open right away. One thing is this runs Chrome OS. It's not going to run Windows OS, at least at this present time. It does run full-fledged Linux apps as of recently, so that's fantastic. If we set this aside, accessories it comes with is your USB-C charging brick with a nice lengthy USB-C to C cable. You can actually use the same power brick to charge your Google Pixel or any other device or laptop that uses a USB-C power delivery, such as like a MacBook, things like that. So this is nice and handy. It's travel, so that way this at least folds in, which is nice, but it is on the big side. But at least they have the cable coming out from like the top, so no matter how you plug it in, it's not going to be sticking out this way, so that's an extra plus there. We'll get into the Pixelbook here real quick. Now you do also get 100 gigs free of Google Drive storage, so that comes with the Pixelbook as well. There's some special features that come with it if you have a Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL, such as tethering, so you get automatic data tethering in case there's no Wi-Fi available, quick unlock if you have an Android device, things like that. But very, very thin, premium design, all metal alloy chassis. It's actually very lightweight for what it is. So over here on the side we have a USB-C port, headphone jack, your volume up and down, and you have a power screen wake lock button right there. This is actually a little wobbly and wiggly. You can kind of hear that right there. And there's like a little charging LED indicator. Nothing on the top, very clean, straight edges, right angles, very minimalistic. Over here on the right, another USB-C port as well, and then you have your hinge here. On the bottom you have some rubber silicone basically that is going to be used for gripping your surface as well when you're laying it down. On the main side you have your alloy metal aluminum finish, and then you have a glass section up here, maybe the top third or so. So that definitely coincides with the Pixel lineup with the glass at the top, and that's one of their trademarks there. Unfortunately, this is the only color that it comes in, but that can be easily resolved with a skin, whether it be slick wraps, whether it be D-brand, whether it be extreme skins. Let me know what your favorite is of those three. Let's go ahead and open this right up. And fortunately it doesn't pass the it does, but you have to be very, very careful with the one-handed open test. That's something, depending on you don't have to hold the bottom down or anything like that. So here we have a nice, full, comfortable keyboard layout. very easy to type on. Now, one complaint I had initially is this wrist pad right here. This is rubber or silicone, and the issue with that is this, and I've seen it in Best Buy stores, is this gets really grimy and oily and dirty, just disgusting. Best Buy stores, if you go to one, you'll probably see this looks like yellow and oily and just really nasty. And that's one complaint I had. I wish they either made this all glass or just left it aluminum. I don't know why. I guess I mean, I can understand to keep the aesthetic of the rubber on the underside of underneath here that we just showed, but nonetheless, trackpad is nice and decently sized, full glass, so it's very smooth to operate with your finger, no problem at all. But the keys are very, very tactile, a lot of travel, and it's actually very comfortable to type on, as we see here. So since this is running Chrome OS, you get a lot of benefits with that. One being the simplicity, the other being the fact that you're going to be able to get everything you need done practically on the go without having to carry a full-fledged laptop, in the sense of you're going to be going overboard. Battery life on this is going to be fantastic because it's not having to do a lot of processing, because it is basically just running a Chrome browser in a sense. Now, if they do finally bring Windows on here, that's going to be a different story. The screen itself is a 12.3 inch screen, very high resolution of 2400 by 1600. Now the bezels are pretty big. Now granted, this did come out the fall of 2017, so you kind of have to understand that aspect of it. But you have maybe about an inch bezel at the bottom here, almost an inch at the top, and maybe half, 3/4 of an inch on the sides. Now another great thing is this does fold over and becomes a convertible. You can actually fold it over and use it as a standard laptop. You can prop it up and put it into a present mode, so to speak, or it can be a tent mode, and it just like that. Now, I'm not sure why you'd want it in tent mode versus present mode, but to each their own. This has been something Lenovo has been doing with their Yoga series for several years, and that's kind of started this whole convertible trend, so to speak. Up here, just below this hinge, you do have a little bit of rubber pads as well to protect the screen from everything else here. Now, in terms of performance, it's pretty much the flagship top of the line of Chrome OS. You're not going to get anything faster or better in terms of a Chromebook than the Pixelbook. This is pretty much what Google sets as a standard for other manufacturers to base off of. One benefit you do get with the Pixelbook over others is you're probably going to be getting new features sooner, and also anything that they maybe bring over to newer versions of Chrome OS. This Pixelbook is probably going to get it first. Now we do have, like I mentioned previously, the ability to install Linux apps. So you can actually turn that on, use the emulator to install apps and things like that. So you can easily do that here. I am currently running the beta channel of Chrome OS, and some of the recent updates, they've changed the UI, made Chrome more rounded, things like that, just like they would on now that you can enable in the actual Chrome browser of your phone. You have a lot of more Material 2 design elements built in. Now, one of the things I noticed in recent advertisements of the Pixelbook is it being able to play PUBG. Now, that is true to an extent. PUBG has actually updated and changed things where if it detects that you're using an emulator, it'll actually only let you play with other players using an emulator. Meaning, if people install the PUBG Tencent Buddy program on their computer, using a full mouse keyboard setup, things like that, bigger screen, then you pretty much are going to be playing with those users, because it's pretty much running PUBG in an emulator in a sense for Android apps. So you're kind of limited in terms of what you can do, because since there's a lot of apps that don't work on Chrome OS that aren't found in the Play Store, you're going to be pretty limited in that regard. So yes, so you can definitely play PUBG with this. You are going to have some limitations in regards to just how functional it is. Using a screen this big with your thumbs, getting around stuff is much more difficult than using a small handheld screen that you can quickly and agile thumbs and things like that can reach in different parts of the screen, versus here you might have to, a lot of more hand gymnastics are involved at that point. But something that I'm not quite used to yet is the fact that there's no right click. You have to pretty much use 2 fingers to click to open up a little prompt window, whereas on Windows you can just simply right click on something and get your little sub menu. But there's none of that. It's just a single click, but it's very easy and functional. It's not complicated to use, it's fast. Being able to install full Windows apps, unfortunately you can't do, because it is running Chrome OS. You're going to pretty much be installing Android apps. Now, pretty much what you can get on your Android phone, you're going to be able to get on here. You are limited in terms of, unfortunately, apps. Some of them are more optimized and things like that for Chrome OS. Some of them are not optimized, so you're going to be only able to run them in portrait mode, which is very frustrating. Here, Solid Explorer is very nice. You can use this as your file manager, which I do perfectly fine. Now, recently they did allow the ability to get ADB Fastboot working on Chrome OS, and that's pretty easy to do. If you want to see a guide on how to get that enabled, let me know in the comments, like the video, and I can definitely make one for you. I was able to do a lot of flashing on my Pixel 2 using ADB Fastboot just from this, and that's very convenient. That is also one thing that if you're a developer that's holding you back, is being able to have that functionality. Now you do have it here. You do have a dedicated Google Assistant button down here in the bottom left. You just tap on it, it brings up your Google Assistant, and you're able to interact with it. Now there is an additional Pixelbook pen, like a Pixel pen, $100. You're able to circle things online. The Google Assistant will tell you things about it. Now I don't have that, unfortunately, but maybe in the future. But I really enjoy typing on the keyboard. It's a very nice laptop to use. Again, I just wish this rubber thing wasn't there. It makes me a little hesitant to use it when my hands are dirty, and unfortunately that's sometimes something you can't get around if your hands are oily or anything like that. So keep that in mind. This can actually be picked up on Amazon or Google Store or a lot of other retailers. I'll leave the links to Amazon down in the description below if that is your preference. If you guys have any questions on the Pixelbook, let me know. I'll definitely do my best to help you answer and determine if this is a right buy for you. In terms of touchscreen usability, the hinge isn't that strong. There is a little bit of wobble as you're touching the screen and stuff like that, which is understandable because yes, you can only add so much strength on a hinge, but at the same time, if you're going to be spending $700+ on a laptop, you don't expect that. There's just a lot of little things here and there that you don't expect, such as there's no camera on the back. If you're wanting a tablet, most tablets have a camera. There's even some laptops that have cameras back there as well. If you're wanting a full-fledged laptop, it's kind of getting in the territory of full Windows OS. It really comes down to what you're needing, and you pretty much have to be honest with yourself. Are you needing something that you're never going to really take the full potential of? There are definitely cheaper Chromebooks which will do you just fine, depending if you're just doing word processing, browsing on the web, things like that. If you're needing something that is, for example, editing videos or editing photos, Chrome OS is going to definitely be difficult operating system to do that on. Unfortunately, because recently there was an app which Juan Carlos Baganel did a video on, Power Director, which pretty much a full, complete video editor, but now they've gone to a monthly paid service versus a one-time paid app. They've taken that away, so you're not going to be able to get that unless you pay monthly. You might be able to find a Linux app for a video editor, which I'm going to look into myself. But if you're someone that wants to do video editing and things like that on the go, maybe you're going to want a Windows laptop instead. But if you're someone that just needs word editing, web browsing, someone that just wants presentations for work, things like that, then this will do you just fine. Especially at Pixelbook, you're going to have the best experience. You're going to never have to worry about it being slow. Updates for it is going to be many, many years. The 2013 Chromebook Pixel, their very first Pixel line Chromebook, they just announced the ending of updates. So that's been 5 years plus almost. So this Pixelbook is going to definitely last a long, long time. Now, unfortunately, with it being USB-C, you are now dealing with the dongle life. So you may want to invest and look into some dongles. Hopefully I can kind of get some of those here on the channel myself and show and how they work to help you out and find the best dongles for you. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching the initial unboxing and my impressions of the Pixelbook. If you guys have any questions, as always, comment down below and ask away. Thank you again. Have a great one, guys.